let's talk a little bit about some of your best. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of the biggest memories about a weather game may not be your a good weather situation. It might be just how awful it was to play in the weather. What was a weather game maybe in your Penn State career that stands out?
There's lots of them. So, but the one that would stand out most was probably my sophomore year. It was 77, and we were playing Kentucky. Kentucky was a very good football team. They only got beat one time that year. They had also, I believe they beat USC, and USC got beat by Notre Dame. Or it ended up being, we were undefeated when we played Kentucky. Kentucky had already beaten somebody big. I can't remember who it was. And at the end of the season, it ended up being that we had one loss, Notre Dame had one loss, and USC had one loss. And we ended up, I think, number 4 or number 5 that year. And it was all came down because the common thread was Kentucky. And we played that Kentucky game in a downpour. And it was one of those games where their quarterback, he was about 6'5", and he's a strong kid, right? Yep. And so that game, we couldn't get any traction on Beaver Stadium because when you try to come off the ball, it was raining so heavy, your feet were sliding all the time. They had a big offensive line, and Fusina didn't have a good day throwing the wet ball, but Rams did. And Rams had big old hands, and we ended up losing that game, and we were a better football team than them. But in that particular game, the weather played a role, and we ended up getting beat. And really, we could have been – that was a national championship team. And, of course, we took that to the next year into 78, and we played in the national championship game against Alabama. So those 2 years back-to-back were big. They were good teams.
Right. They were very good teams, and they really started that ball rolling to get the reputation that Penn State wasn't just the cow college anymore, that it was it was starting to be a football power to be reckoned with. So I was actually this is the great thing about 2020. As you're talking about that, I'm pulling up on YouTube and I'm watching that, and I'm just seeing how awful the conditions were in that game. And that, it's crazy to see that kind of weather. Now, as you go into your pro career, any of those games, a couple of those that stand out to you, Matt, in the different places that you played?
Oh, yeah. So just look at my rookie year. My rookie year, we go back to Cleveland, and it was minus 36 degrees. And it was the coldest I had ever been. And I was going to play the game with short sleeves, right? Just a T-shirt underneath and short sleeves. And all the guys, on my team from California and stuff, and they're like getting all this stuff on. And I was like, you guys are a bunch of wusses. This is man weather. Get out there.
Pennsylvania boy weather. We eat the snow for lunch in Pennsylvania, right?
Exactly. That's what I told them. I said, you guys are soft, man. This is man weather. And I had my T-shirt on, and I put my uniform on, and I walked outside, and I took 2 steps, and I said, oh, my God, go back and put in anything you have on. I couldn't believe how cold it was. It was so cold. I had icicles off my mustache, off my face mask. I remember I told them, turn the heat off in the locker room at halftime, because you don't want to thaw out.
Right.
Because you're going to get freezing cold again when you go back out.
Yeah, it hurts even more when that happens. I agree.
So, and then I remember on the sidelines, the problem was guys would go over and stand by the heater and put a coat on. You can't do that. Once you're cold, stay cold.
Also,
and then once you warm up, then you're going to feel everything, that all the bumps and bruises that you got out there, they're going to show up as soon as you get in that hot shower. And that's exactly what happened. And so we were minus 36, Dean, in Cleveland, and there was a 100-degree difference to our next game in San Diego. It was like 64 degrees.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it was completely different. I mean,
how was your body affected in that? It takes sometimes 2, 3, 4 weeks to your body to sort out the seasonal change.
Yeah, well, you didn't have time.
Right.
So, you got a game next week, and it's the AFC Championship, and we have to find a way to win. So you don't worry about your body. You think about how the heck am I going to tackle Kellen Winslow, or how am I going to get on a blitz? How do I get to Dan Fouts, or, those types of things. And so it was, I just remember what a difference it was. And It's interesting because once you get to San Diego, you don't even think about Cleveland. You don't think about any of this stuff until maybe the season's over and you reflect back on it and you go, man, that was really cold.
To listen to the full episode, just click the links below. And never miss a podcast by subscribing to Everything Under the Sun on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. New episodes every Friday.